Hi, this is Christy with Paper Snippets and Handcrafts. Today we are going to insert the inside pages of the little golden book into our actual book. Now this is removable. I think you've seen this if you're following along. This little book is removable and I have it put in with seam binding. I don't know where my seam binding is right now. Oh, it's right here. So I have this attached through these holes in the back. So what I did is I went ahead and I put the eyelets in the back side. It's really hard to see and put this in on camera. And what I used was the Big Chomp. And I measured up 2 inches from the bottom and 2 inches down from the top, and I marked it. And these aren't in the center, and I'm okay with that, because the reason for that is because your book does need to be trimmed. I mean, I'm not saying always it'll have to be trimmed. None of these books are the same size. They vary, the covers vary. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your book and you're going to want to measure it. You're going to want to make sure it doesn't interfere with your spine so that it opens and closes just fine. And so that's what I did to determine where I was going to put the holes. Now mine, I did have to trim. The top and bottom were fine, but I did trim. I have a book guillotine type trimmer that was able to cut through all of these pages. So you possibly will need to trim yours. More than likely you will. If you don't have a trimmer that will trim something this thick, you can always use an X-Acto knife and a ruler. And I don't have it on hand, but what you can do with your ruler is you can set it where you need it trimmed. I have another one that is a ruler that's heavier duty, but you can set it right where you need it trimmed and push firmly down, and then you're going to take your blade and you're just going to keep cutting slowly. You will cut all the way through the stack of papers. Or you could try to do it on your paper trimmer. I know these books open up and you can try to do it that way. So anyway, once you determine how big your book needs to be, I would go ahead and insert the holes with your Big Chomp, measuring down 2 inches and up 2 inches, and then put your eyelets in. Now these eyelets are kind of difficult to get in because for me, I have 3 layers of paper on the front and back and the chipboard of the book. So what I did is I also have this little eyelet setter tool and the punch that you would use a little hammer with. And I don't use it on this. I use the Crocodile 2. I guess is what it's called. I think I called it the Big Chomp. But anyway, I use the punch tool that you normally would punch with your hammer. I use it to help me get these eyelets through. I help to open up the holes after I punch it. I put this through it both ways, on the front and back. And then on this side, if they're not going through, I use this to push it through. So you'll need to find something like this to get these to go through because they're kind of difficult. And be careful not to ruin your spine when you do that. And so once I got those through, I used the eyelet. So when I punched it on the Crocodile 2, I used the 3/16, and that's the eyelets that I used. And then I moved it over and I put it on the setting for the eyelet setter. And then I pushed down on it. Now, these don't go all the way through, which is fine. They're still doing their job. The whole point in these is just to make it look nicer where we punched our holes and make it look cleaner. So once you're done with that, you're going to take your little book that you've trimmed and made sure, you know, everything fits. What I did was I took the gold tape from the book that we removed in the beginning, and I just, before I glued it down, I just kind of set it in here to make sure that the top and the bottom match and that you don't need to trim that. And then, like I said, I had measured where this needed to go, and on the back side of it, I marked it. I held it up and I marked this side. I marked it where the hole should go in this. And if you see, I don't know if you can see it, I have a little mark here from a pencil that I used. So mine is marked, so I know where to punch it. And once again, this really isn't going to be in the center, but I'm okay with that because I didn't want to cut any more of my book. Some of the books, you can cut quite a bit on it, but this little book, I would have been cutting off her hand, and I think there was a flag in here that I was going to cut more of, and I just didn't want to cut any more of the picture. So what you're going to do here from here is you're going to put some, I adhere it with just my Barely Art glue. I hope this isn't clogged. I didn't look at it before I started. So I'm just going to put some glue on here. And we're just going to adhere it to the outside of the book. I'll wipe some of this off. I got quite a bit here. Okay. I'm getting glue all over the place. So just glue that down. Let me move this out of the way. My foam folder. Kind of needed to move that a little bit, but I think it might be too late. No, I got it to move. That's why I like using glue instead of tape a lot of times. My bag. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is I'll show you how to use the Crocodile 2 on this to, if I can see well enough. So let me mark my spots a little bit better so I can see them. So one of my marks was there and one of them was there. So that is where I'm going to punch with my Crocodile. Let me make sure this is good and glued down before I punch it. Okay, then we're gonna put it back down on the 3/16. And now this does have a measurement on it. So if you have one of these, you can set it on 2. So how I measured 2 up from here and down from the top, you can set it on 2 and rest right here. But this book is, the inside of the book is a little bit smaller. So I'm not gonna go off that measurement. I'm just gonna look down and see where the cut is coming from and make sure that that's where I want it. I need to move it over just a little bit. And then I'm gonna go ahead and punch. So That's exactly how you're going to do the book. It just is a lot harder to punch through. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And this side is easier to see, that's for sure. And I want to make sure, I feel like I'm a little off on my measurement there on how far to go out. So I think I'm going to go in just a tad bit more. So that's what it looks like once you get that done. Through this side real quick, like it's got an extra piece hanging there that I don't like. Okay, there we go. And then you're going to, and we'll see how tight these are. See, they're really tight, so I cannot get these through. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my manual punch and I'm gonna push it through like that. And then these should go in pretty easy after that, which they do. So that's what those look like. So I'm gonna, and so this is exactly what I did to the book right here. Let me, need to be careful not to do, I got a little close on the edge there, so the eyelet's gonna cover it, but it'll be fine. So that's what that's gonna look like. And now we just need to slide this over, and we're gonna go ahead and set these eyelets. And don't forget to move this, because if you don't move this over here to set your eyelet, you're gonna punch a hole in your book. Don't tell me how I know that. Push down. I could probably set that a little bit better. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it one more time. So now that's set. Let's do this side. Oh shoot. It's not what I wanted to happen. I got stuck. Okay, hold on. I need to get this unstuck. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm back now. I don't know what happened, but my eyelet, sometimes it happens. I think you get bad eyelets that aren't as strong as other ones, and so I had to get a different eyelet because this one it just mushed up and I didn't like the way it looks. So anyway, I redid this one, so that's what it looks like from both sides. So you have your book all put back together, and this is what it looks like. Let me move this out of the way. And the inside is like this. So it looks just like it did when it was in the book. So you're not ruining any part of the story. It all stays intact. So now that we have that done, we might want to just check and see if everything lines up okay. Which it does. And I don't have the seam binding that I'm going to use for this, but I am going to use, I'm going to use this pink one real quick, like, just to see how it looks. So this is what you're going to do, is obviously I'm not going to use this pink, but this is what you're going to do to put your book in here. I should have gotten my seam binding out, but I didn't. So once you get all that done, you just take your little book and you can take it out anytime you want. If you want to read it, you could keep it in here. It's whatever you want to do. So this little book would be so much fun to do for a family event for a little one that loves the 4th of July. I know they're all grown up now, but I have 3 boys and they absolutely love the 4th of July. So this is not going to be this way, but it's just an example. The book will kind of move around a little bit because it's, you know, it's not super secured. But that is great if you want to read the book inside it because it gives it a little bit of movement. So there is attaching the inside of the book. I'm going to take a pause for a little bit and I'm going to get the rest of the pages ready for the inside. And then I will come back and I will put those in and then start a little bit of the decorating of the book.